Wow, so with chapter 218 finally out after the 1 week break, Gege has bamboozled us. And while we don't get Mahoraga this chapter, we do get a lot of information regarding Yorozu, her curse technique, along with Sukuna showcasing 2 never before seen shikigami. Now, I do want to quickly mention that I am getting a little sick, so if I sound a bit congested, that's why. Anyway, putting all that aside for now, the chapter starts out by giving us a flashback of Heian era Yorozu as it goes on to explain that her curse technique construction was far less efficient at utilizing curse technique than others, followed by, in terms of pure curse to energy capacity and output, Yorozu was in no way inferior to the strongest sorcerers of the Heian era. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I was under the impression that the reason Mai couldn't fully utilize the construction technique was because she had low curse energy reserves due to being Maki's twin. But we see here with Yorozu that even though she's a high tier sorcerer in almost every regard, the construction technique itself just drains a lot of curse energy, way more than most other curse techniques. Continuing with the chapter, it goes on to explain how Yorozu had heard rumors about butterflies flying across the sea and insects that can lift things several times their weight, and it says that Yorozu started to see a hint of a solution in the energy efficiency of insects, followed by she was convinced that insect armor was the pinnacle of construction technique. Wow, so that is pretty genius from Yorozu, and it also explains why the armor that she has just kind of looks like spliced together insects, and it also makes a lot of sense to use her curse technique this way. We know that insects themselves are really efficient with their energy, and we all know that if insects were the size of humans, we would all be scared shitless, which is exactly what Yorozu basically is right now, except she's probably about 3 times stronger. And it also shows that she isn't just some goofy person. Yorozu was able to turn an inefficient curse technique into something that was strong enough to defeat the generals led by Uro. Yes, we get to see that Yorozu may be the reason why Uro has such disdain towards the Fujiwaras. Moving on, the chapter kicks back to the present, continuing the fight with Sukuna and Yorozu, and Yorozu is actually putting a little bit of hands on Sukuna, landing some pretty powerful blows. Despite that, she still screams at Sukuna, telling him to use the shrine to cut her up, which, while yes, it is a little bit goofy, and all especially while Sukuna just looks completely unbothered by this, it really goes to show the devotion she has to fighting Sukuna at his full strength. Yorozu then surrounds Sukuna in a wall of liquid metal, to which he responds by summoning one of the 2 new shikigami we see this chapter, the Tranquil Deer. We then see the deer gently touching Sukuna's hand, performing reverse curse technique, to which Yorozu then realizes that she has lost control of her liquid metal. Okay, so this is pretty big. We knew that there were more shikigami that we hadn't seen yet, but we didn't know that there would be a shikigami capable of using reverse curse technique. This is actually pretty broken if you ask me. Being able to just summon a shikigami and just heal you, and also being able to just dispel other curse techniques, you know, due to it having reverse curse technique, that's pretty broken. Sukuna just continued to prove why he is one of the strongest sorcerers in this series. It kind of makes me wonder what it would have been like if Megumi had been able to summon this shikigami earlier, because this one shikigami I feel like can carry Megumi through a big portion of the series. Getting back to the chapter, Sukuna then almost immediately summons the second new shikigami, the piercing bull, which then charges Yorozu, knocking her through the wall back outside. Yorozu then punches the bull, but then realizes that the bull is only charging her in a straight line, but in exchange for that, its power dramatically increases the further it charges. Okay, so the piercing bull isn't as broken to me as the Tranquil Deer is. The piercing bull seems to have a binding vow on it that allows it to get more powerful the longer it charges, the further it goes. But what I get from this curse technique is more of like a rabbit escape type feeling. It feels like more of a distraction kind of shikigami that you just use to take the pressure off of you, while the Tranquil Deer is more of a stationary defense kind of shikigami. You know, it'll just heal you up, stay close to you, and maybe dispel a couple of curse techniques. But I am interested to know if there's a limit. Like, what if Sukuna just placed a piercing bull and just had him run 5 miles into, like, you know, a wall or something? How much power would that be? Anyways, Yorozu isn't completely out of the woods yet, as Sukuna then uses rabbit escape, distracting Yorozu while he drops Max Elephant from above the stadium. Sukuna then says, "As I thought, there was no no need to use my shrine after all. Is that all your so-called love amounts to? Mocking Yorozu with one of the best troll faces Gege has given us so far. Yorozu then says, not even close, I'm only just getting started. I understand more than anyone the loneliness that comes with peerless strength. I will be the one to teach you love. Sukuna then responds with an evil smirk, insinuating to Yorozu that he already knows about love. Now, while this is pretty funny, Yorozu then says that he's mistaken and that she'll show him what real love looks like, saying, I'll construct it and show it to you. My heart. End of chapter. So wow, the chapter ends off with Yorozu maybe going into a domain expansion. We don't know for sure yet, but that's what it looks like, and I'm interested to see what that may look like. We also see that this whole chapter, Sukuna has Maharaga's wheel above his head. Although he hasn't really used it for anything, I'm interested to see what exactly that is used for. And also, it's also interesting that Sukuna had told Megumi way earlier in the series, like, why are you fighting me hand to hand? Why aren't you using your shikigami? And we just see from this fight that Sukuna is basically just using his shikigami, from Divine Dogs to Piercing Bull to Tranquil Deer to Max Elephant. He's just using basically every shikigami and just no hand-to-hand combat. It's also good to keep in mind that even though Yorozu is pretty much getting like no diff by Sukuna right now, she has pretty much no damage, it looks like, as the armor pretty much protected her. Yes, the armor is gone now, it got cracked and all that, but she doesn't seem to have that much damage taken. Can she just, you know, make another set of armor, or would the domain expansion take everything else out of her? We don't really know yet, but I just wanted to say that keep that in mind. She doesn't really have that much damage. All in all though, pretty good chapter. I would say maybe a 7 out of 10. I know people don't really like this part of the story that much just because of Yorozu and her character. I don't really mind at all. I think that she's a really good character. In fact, I think that bringing Yorozu into the story was a pretty good move by Gege. You know, recently we just been seeing the good guys pretty much getting worked by Sukuna and Kinjaku and all that. So bringing Yorozu into the story, you know, bringing a little bit of lightheartedness back into the series is really good for me. Anyways, that's about it for me today. Please like the video if you like this review and subscribe to the channel if you like JJK content. I'm out. Peace.